thanks so much for tuning into the channel. This is your February 24 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find that this resonates for the month ahead. So we're going to open up with the energy of the alchemist, the magician. February does bring a little bit of chaos with it, and that's because Uranus is incredibly active through the month. So there's a lot of rather unconventional situations that might arise, a few detours and some surprises that we need to be prepared for, so to speak. So you might have some well set intentions and plans, but just be prepared to hold space for what's going to surface. Ultimately, I think that the adjustments and the things that come to light are going to prove to be really beneficial and supportive in helping you to progress, okay? Now, we still have some energy in your sign at the beginning of the month as some of the personal planets remain in Capricorn, so that's going to be super supportive to just help you address some of those key priorities. If you can maintain your focus, we can see him with the candle right now, in spite of, you know, some of the external influences that might be getting activated around you, you are going to make a lot of headway quite early on, and that would definitely be the best time of the month to kind of put things into motion. Sometimes, Capricorn, when we're not given the answers, then we start to create them for ourselves, and that's when we can go off on a kind of runaway train of what we think something means or where we think something is going. And you're going to have to just be aware and mindful of the fact that, you know, early on in the month you might have quite a clear view or vision of what you think is going to happen because you haven't been given the information or insight or response yet from somebody. But I think you're going to have a few twists and turns through the month, you know, that is going to help you to perhaps see things in a little bit of a new light, okay? Sometimes things can rupture, and, you know, the break doesn't need to be permanent. It just can offer an opportunity for perhaps a stepping back and a pathway to recovery, okay? Now, as we approach the first week, Venus is going to trine with Uranus, and there is some sort of news information coming to light around that time that should be a pleasant surprise for you. I think February, in a way, is going to let you see how something could play out, and now you'll have the chance to see if that's what you want. The Six of Cups tells me that there's something from the past that still has relevance and resonance for you, and it's really kind of holding your attention still all the way through this month. And, you know, you're holding onto your heart space, and there's almost a little bit of a wistful kind of nostalgic feeling that's surfacing around this time for you. And, you know, I want to remind you that things can be right for you, whether that be, you know, a person, a job, a new home, you know, something that's maybe making a change in your life, and yet it still requires work and adjustments and patience. And it may be that something new has landed fairly recently and you're still trying to fit in and come to terms with it. And so you might also be looking back and sort of wondering, did I do the right thing, or is this really for me? And so there's that sort of contemplation that I also see taking place. Now, as we approach the Aquarius new moon on the 9th, there is a square with Uranus, so we have a little bit of a pressure point coming up here. Now remember, in Aquarius energy, it's lighting up that second house for you. So it's like, what we're trying to do now is say, well, how is my value reflected and mirrored in the things that I'm trying to materialize in my life? And so you'll be getting lots of opportunities just in and around that new moon energy, and perhaps feeling a bit pressured to make the adjustment or the change, but to also see, you know, this is why I made the decision, and now it's time for me to sort of double down or to hold space for what can come from that, what the potential is. And, you know, I think it can take a little bit of practice to be consistent sometimes, and it's okay to sort of jump around a bit and almost to feel that, you know, things are a little bit erratic. And, you know, that isn't necessarily something that sits well with you when you like the kind of order and the structure and the plan of something. Nonetheless, I feel it's sort of required that we have that energy in flux a little bit to just help you see what more possibilities there are, and also to just kind of experiment a little bit. Now, around that new moon, we're also going to celebrate Year of the Dragon, movement, growth, focus, direction, courage. King of Wands coming in here. You bring a fresh attitude to a situation in February. You might even surprise yourself with regards to that. You're ready to do something. You're ready to face it. And, you know, you might find that it's almost like all of a sudden something feels very real and you're put on the spot and you're kind of like, oh, okay, you know, I wasn't quite ready for this. Nonetheless, here we are. And it's sort of like, okay, what do you stand for? You know, someone, or maybe more than one person, I kind of feel like all eyes on you, looking towards you, saying, okay, what do you think? What do you see? You know, what is your plan? And it's at that moment you have an opportunity to kind of step up and share something and be kind of really open and truthful. And that's going to be quite refreshing and cathartic, because I think you'll give yourself and others almost this opportunity to see you differently, and I think that's going to go a long way to sort of addressing what, you know, Aquarius energy is supposed to do for you, which is to really help you to strengthen that value based on how you've come through your solar returns and the changes that you've wanted to make in terms of how you see yourself and how you are perceived. So we've got the strength energy coming through, and you know, if we want a path that's easy and peaceful and progressive, then we have to identify where the drama is distracting us, and that might be from the media, from colleagues, friends, relationships, sources of inspiration and content, your own made-up stories. The drama always exists, right? But how you perceive it, what you take from it, if you let it in or if you allow it to perpetuate, it all has this influence and impact on you. And there's teaching moment here, and strength says, okay, you know, I'm really needing to address and remove myself from what keeps bringing this drama to my door. Yeah, so I guess the question is, what is it going to take, and to what degree is this relationship to some form of drama still serving you? And it's okay to kind of come to the conclusion that actually, you know, there's some part of me that needs that, you know, that needs the contrast, needs the ruckus of it, just to kind of feel like life isn't so mundane, or I'm not so alone, or, you know, there's all sorts of reasons why we can kind of invite that type of a dynamic energy into our experience. But February is a month, Capricorn, where you're really being shown in a very clear, specific way how the sort of polarizing energies within you are almost creating this push-pull. So it's like, well, I want this thing, but yet I keep doing this thing that's in opposition to it. And sometimes that's things that we're very aware of, and sometimes that's things that need to be shown to us in a more direct way. And the universe is kind of calling us out a little bit through the course of February in order that we see it. Of course, Aquarius is asking us to do things differently, and as we come into the mid-month, we've got a whole stellium of energy in the sign. Mars moves into Aquarius on the 13th, Venus on the 16th. We've also got Valentine's there coming through, so if it's something that you celebrate, there's actually some quite nice aspects coming through with Neptune, but certainly this feeling of it being a bit unorthodox, people doing things in a new way. You might even be surprised of, you know, the type of things that you're more open to. An open mind and open heart will lead to some curious, interesting conversations, connections, dates, so to speak. Six of Swords, though, tells me here that you are looking to see how you can move forward and progress with something. And I think it's the strength to make that step. It's the strength to make that move that's going to be really important through the mid part of February for you. The reason why this is going to be so key is that as we come into the second half of the month, there's huge emphasis around what's going on within our relationships. And I don't just mean romantic, all relationships being highlighted. We've got the 222 portal. Sun in Pisces comes through, helping to dissolve things. So we're starting to see with more clarity, but also look towards what our heart is really telling us. Big relationship issues being addressed as we arrive at Venus conjunct Mars on the 22nd. You might be preparing to move on or move away, or certainly ready to leave some of the troublesome, more challenging aspects of certain relationships behind you. We also have this exact with the North Node in Chiron, a conjunction on the 19th, where there is this sort of almost action plan for healing. It's an opportunity for you to take your power back, but there's also this feeling that we kind of need to almost like heal through the crisis point, okay? Temperance comes in here, and it's almost like there's a stark difference perhaps between, you know, where we are, where they think we are, where we want to be. Again, this kind of contrast, this polarizing energy that's showing itself up. And what I want to say here is that there might be a way forward that actually enables you and them to both have the things that matter be realized, and it not kind of feel like that huge compromise. So I'm looking at a month where there is some really interesting solutions, but the give is that, you know, we have to be able to face some of the kind of core wounds and understand the ways in which we've allowed this relationship and our pattern within it to hold us back, to limit us, or to perpetuate a certain story that we hold. And, you know, the conclusions that you will arrive at in a lot of relationships in your world through the course of February is going to be tremendously valuable and important in terms of what next steps you make, and especially how things start to play out through eclipse season as we move into March and April. Now the Virgo full moon comes in on the 24th, Venus squaring Jupiter. So again, that pressure point being felt. You know, how do I expand and evolve and grow through this experience? And the Virgo full moon says, okay, well, here's all the things that you missed. Here's all the things you were avoidant of. So let's go back and address them. And let's also see how they're affecting you on a physical level. And let's also see how your own inner critic, or the judgment that you have towards yourself or others, is also influencing your ability to find a way forward. We can say we want to find a way forward and then put lots of barriers in the way to make that happen. So it's a huge opportunity to really address the elephant in the room, if you like, through the month of February. And that can have a massive impact on any area of your life where you have seen some block or, you know, thinking that you've been held back in some way. The capacity for you to see things in a whole new light around that Virgo full moon will be super supportive, you know, in helping to address things like one by one, and not kind of like run before you can walk, and just like not try to take on too much or be overwhelmed, but rather just kind of say, okay, like what are the key priorities or the key takeaways that I've got about, you know, the main relationships that are closest to me. And, you know, don't underestimate, Capricorn, the degree to which what you're being shown through the course of February, especially toward the end of the month, in terms of how it can help you to make a change or a shift or an adjustment in your attitude, your boundaries, you know, how you see how a relationship is shown up for you, what it's really represented, and what you're going to do about it moving forward. Because I just see huge kind of light bulb moments going off, and then this kind of determination to say, right, okay, now I absolutely have clarity on what needs to happen. Now that might not be able to be something that you can put in place overnight. Nonetheless, what we will see kind of coming out of the month of February is a bit of an action plan for yourself that says, okay, this is the type of energies that I need and I want and I seek to have around me. And this is the person I want to be in those relationships, okay? I have a sense for some of you as well, you know, we've got the kind of back turned with the Six of Swords and Temperance. So I do feel like you are allowing yourself to kind of release from a situation that isn't necessarily even about you, but perhaps you've been caught up in it, or it's been something you've had to be engaged or a part of, participated in for some reason. Now they no longer need you, and I mean that in the best way possible. And sometimes we can kind of cling on or hold on to something, but it is the time to say, okay, I can move on now, and I can free up some of that headspace, that time, that investment, and see, you know, what's next for me, okay? So it also feels like it's been a powerful sort of realization as we move through that beautiful sacred portal. If you're new to the channel, Capricorn, our last three cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. You can find the link in the comment and description box. I talk for another 30 minutes or so We'll also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you during that session. Just going to clarify here and see the direction we're going to be taking this reading. King and Page of Pentacles. We've got Ten of Swords coming through here. Nine of Swords. Let's pull one more there. And the Moon. Okay, interesting. There's that sort of doubt, I think, about, you know, some of the things that have come in, and maybe you're questioning whether they're right for you. Another Six of Cups here as well. Seven of Wands. All the decks that I use are listed in the comment and description box underneath. You can also find over on my website, romywiser.com, all of the sacred titles I've created, sacred soul support, guided meditations, and ways to work with me. So please do check that out if you are new to my channel. Four of Swords, Five of Wands, okay. Right, let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my own deck. See how this wants to add to our cosmic conversation this month. Portals of Possibility, perfect card. Mirrors of the Mind, Queen of Earth, along with the Queen of Pentacles. Really like that showing up for you. Full Moon. Encoded Footprints. Rise in Love. Okay, gonna pull a Rose Oracle for this month ahead, Capricorn. And we have Temple of the Rose, Ancient Power, Expression, Activation, Scarlet Codes. Okay, look forward to covering this in our next reading. I do hope you will join me. Have a beautiful month of February. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.